Hello, and welcome to Health and Fitness Redefined. I'm your host, Anthony Amen. Join me today as we take a dive into the health and fitness, where we learn how to overcome adversity, depict that diverse fiction, and see health and fitness in a whole new light. I hope you guys have been enjoying our quick tick episodes. They have been going really well. We have quite a few in at this point. So, like I always say, guys, in the beginning of the show, if you would like to hear anything specific about any supplement, exercise program, anything you just want 5 minutes of digestible information to take home with you, which we're going to be doing every other week on this show, please reach out, Health Fitness Redefined podcast at gmail.com. Again, Health Fitness Redefined with the D podcast at gmail.com. So without further ado, we're going to get into today's show. Today's show, we have an awesome guest on, Dr. Mike. He's going to be talking about nutrition and how can it specifically help with people with certain chronic conditions. So this is something I love talking about. I like having different views on. I like having different products on because we can really get down to the nitty gritty about why things work and really see if it's something that you could use in your day-to-day life. Because if it can help, why not? So without further ado, let's welcome to the show, Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Anthony, for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
I'm really excited to do this. Just before we get into what we're talking about today, just want to hear a little bit about yourself and tell us kind of how you got into this field.
Well, yeah, it's been a long journey. People probably can hear my accent. I'm originally from Belgium. Came here in 1997. Actually, in Belgium, I went to the University of Brussels, did physical education first, which was a lot of fun, of sports, right? But then went into physical therapy. I came here in 97 after traveling with the Belgian Olympic swim team in preparation for the Atlanta Games in 96. I was recruited in 97 to come over here as a physical therapist. I did that for a little bit, but really got more interested in alternative medicine, went back to school, got my license in acupuncture, doctor of oriental medicine, board certified in Chinese herbs, homeopathy, all that good stuff. But then I basically realized that even with these quote-unquote alternative medicines, even though they're less harmful than conventional medicine, meaning drugs and surgeries, I really didn't get the lasting results that I wanted with my patients either. So I decided to go back to basics and get my Ph.D. in holistic nutrition and look at Mother Nature to see what the animals in the wild were doing. And by combining that, I really became confident in helping people regain control of their health, optimize their health, and today even biohack, meaning biologically reverse their, or objectively reverse their biological age. So today I'm a best-selling author. I do a lot of international and national keynote speaking, and I mentor people in regaining control of their health or biohacking or even in business, making sure they reach their goals and their dreams and fulfill their purpose of life. So that's what I'm doing today.
That's awesome. You kind of got into the phys ed field originally in Belgium.
Yeah, that's right.
What made you want to leave that? Just different change of career?
Well, no, I mean, I was a pretty good swimmer over there, and loved sports. I was good at all sports and loved sports. So obviously, it was kind of common sense to go into physical ed at the University of Brussels, which was a lot of fun. But what are you going to do with that ultimately? I'm not going to be a gym teacher or a drug rep because that's usually what those people end up doing. So anyways, I expanded myself and found my passion more in getting people off medications instead of on medications and teach people about health and not sickness. And so so that's what I do today. And, I got a good following and I'm helping a lot of people, and it's very satisfying.
So what's a typical person you would see that would come into your office now?
Most of the things I do online through my website, consulting and mentoring, and guiding them in the right direction and keep them accountable every week when we talk, make sure they reach their goals. But I would say still 80% falls in the category of we need to first get back to normal. In other words, we need to balance your body, and we need to get rid of any pain and any medical condition or disease, because that's where most people are. They're in ill health. So we got to get them back to normal. Once we get rid of disease and pain, we can optimize health, meaning we got to balance the body. We got to regain control of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So we got to be strong, fit, and vital. And once we're in that optimal health, now we can start biohacking, reversing our biological age. So there's 3 steps, and most people start at step number 1. But if you're an athlete, if you're in good health, if you're not diagnosed with any disease, you probably start at step number 2, meaning let's optimize your health. And once you're there, we're really gonna, compete in biohacking and get you younger biologically, which can be objectively measured, which is the cool things that we can do today.
Yeah, I've seen some cool little things that could be like, your age is this kind of deal, but what your internal age, just funny stuff. I've been called, like, yesterday someone called me 50 years old. So apparently my biohacking is double my real age. So
that's what it is.
No, but it's all good. So just you're talking about, what's a typical things people are coming in for? You mentioned they're can either be athletes and they're looking just for improvement. You mentioned that it could be people that have something wrong with them. You're looking to fix that. But is there any condition in particular, something a little more specific that you're really seeing and working with?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, anybody comes to me because I believe I can help everybody just with basic stuff. But yes, I see people that obviously have medical conditions. I see a lot of people today, even younger people, that I'm helping with what I call, not mental illnesses, but mostly anxiety, depression. No purpose in life is what I call it, because everybody thinks, mental illnesses. Why are people anxious? Why are they worried? Why are they depressed? To me, there's only one real cause: is they have no purpose in life, and they didn't really, sit down and figure out. And that's where I help people, is ask them questions and figure out what is your purpose in life. Because, we all, and still happens today, we've been pushed by society in a certain direction, meaning we got to go to school. Then we're supposed to go to college. Then we're supposed to work till we're 65 for an employer. Then we're supposed to get an RV and travel around the country, which is never going to happen because we got our first stroke before we got our first RV, right? So that's kind of what society plans. And then we got our parents and our teachers and our mentors. If that's an attorney, he wants to go you to go to law school. If mom failed in medical school, she wants to live vicariously through you and send you to medical school. If that's not the case, they want you to go to college because they want you to be able to provide for your family. But nobody asks what your passion is. Nobody asks you what were the superpowers that you dreamed about when you were a kid. What were the dreams of who you wanted to be? Because as a kid, without any doubt in our mind, we were sure that we could attain those powers until somebody told us they were impossible. And so most of us settle for ordinary and follow this path that society or friends or parents pay for us. But what my goal is we got to stop that, and we got to sit down. We got to figure out what people's purpose in life is. And there's many exercises that I do with them to really figure out what their passions are, who they want to be, and what they want to accomplish. Because once you have a purpose in life and you got fire in your stomach and you have passion about it, what we're going to do then, because that sets the stage, we're going to design a plan and a strategy. And once we have a plan and a strategy, we're going to figure out what people or what experts that we need to surround ourselves with in order to, achieve those goals and live at our highest potential. And then we know there's going to be obstacles, but those obstacles don't mean anything anymore because we know where the end is. We know where the finish line is. We know where our dreams is. It's like the 110-meter hurdles. Those athletes know where the finish is. They attack those hurdles. They don't throw up their arms in the air and say, oh my God, I can't do this, or oh my God, it's not meant to be. So in my opinion, anxiety, depression, worry, fear, when you have no purpose in life, when you don't have control over life, when you don't have clarity, there's going to be a lot of stress, things going to be thrown at you, and you don't know where you are. You're without a purpose. And that's why I think we have a lot of mental illnesses, anxiety, depression, fear, worry. There's no purpose in life. So first step, always get to purpose in life. So, to answer your question, there's a lot of people now that, come to me to try to help me figure out their purpose in life and steer away from, what they're doing, what they've been told to be doing, because they're depressed. The other type of people is obviously athletes, or I have a lot of CEOs and business people because they're upgrading their business. They're the best at what they do. They're upgrading their sports car every year. They're upgrading their house, but they're forgetting to upgrade themselves. And so they need help in that area because it's not their area of expertise. So, they've been trading wealth for health, and now they got to spend their wealth to get healthy again. And so I'm trying to avoid that and kind of make them aware of the fact that they should continue to upgrade themselves while they upgrade the rest, in their lives. And then you have people with digestive disorders, Crohn's disease, all kind of digestive disorders, which easily are fixed. I mean, I think we can fix anything with common sense versus medications and surgeries.
I'm going to take this as a 3-part answer because that's basically where we're at. I'm going to go back to part 1 because to me personally, that was, I think, the most impactful. The people with anxiety, depression, not having a purpose in life and really driving deeper into that aspect. And you really see that a lot now. People are waking up. It was the pandemic that really shut people down. And then when they realized after 7 months or 6 months being home, wow, I'm really not happy with what I'm doing. I'm really not happy in my relationship. I'm really not happy going to school. I want to find something that makes me happier, that I feel more fulfilled doing it. And that led to the overall huge increase in anxiety, depression, because people had no purpose in their lives. So just in general, I think what you said is 100% correct. Society tells us, and I was a direct influence of this. It was, all right, you're going to go to school from kindergarten to senior, you're going to graduate. Once you graduate, my counselors, just to be very clear about how I was raised, they didn't say, what do you want to do for a living? They always said, what college do you want to go to?
Yeah, exactly.
There was no other option. It was, who do you want to work for and what college do you want to go to? Well, there's a million other options out there that they just didn't think about or push. And I don't know why. There could be a million reasons. But if we take that, then it was, okay, I have to go to college now because all my friends are going. It's not because I wanted to go. It's because all my friends were going to school. Okay, I can go get away and be away from my parents for 4 years and have more of independency, which is really what I was craving more than the college itself. Sure. Then you go to college, and then you have those counselors bouncing you around different classes. You're trying to figure out what you like, and you're going here, then you're going there. I changed my major 4 times. So it's just shows that school really didn't even give you that direction. By the time you graduate, I graduated and went, now what? Yeah. And my mom pulled me aside and was like, I'll never forget this conversation. She said, Anthony, you don't know what you want to do with your life. You're not just sitting home. That's not happening. Go get your real estate license. Because my parents owned a real estate company. So I said, okay, I'll go get my real estate license. I could have gotten my real estate license fresh out of high school. I did not need to go to college. And then after realizing that my passion wasn't overly in real estate, it took to me finally to encompass all that to go then get into business and to go open a gym, which yet again, still didn't need college for and didn't need to waste $200,000 of going to school. So that's kind of like where that depression lies in. It's just a story that shows how accurate that is, especially now. People don't have a purpose because they're not given every option. You don't have to go to college. You can go to business. You can go to trade school. Trade school is one of the best things you can do right now. Like those plumbers and electricians make more money than most people coming out of college.
Exactly, they do, because you can't get them. There's a shortage, and people don't have the skills anymore. But again, I mean, your story is great, and you're trying to find your purpose, but it's taking you a lot of time and it's taking you a lot of money. So what I try to do is prevent that wasting of years and wasting of money, and sit down with them and go through exercises and figure out what your passions are, what your dreams are, and then just. Then there's different things that we need to do, because most of us, as you know, Anthony, we're not living our dream. Our job probably doesn't even fit that picture of our dream, right? But even if we know our dream, even when people do have a purpose, they get distracted. They're accepting projects that don't fit their dream. They don't want to say no to people. And so my upcoming book which is called The Key to Your Success, hopefully available January the 1st, which is soon, really talks about optimizing productivity, maximizing focus, freeing up valuable time, and living stress-free. And the purpose of life part that we just talked about is a big key in there, because it sets the stage for everything else in your life. So it's very important that if you didn't figure it out yet, that you really sit down, because that's the most important thing in your life, is finding out who you want to be, what your passions are. And I can help everybody with that, but we need to define that. And once you figure it out and set a plan and a strategy, then you're passionate about it. You live with a purpose every day. There's no room for depression or worry or fear or wondering what you're doing, or people throwing stuff at you, or accepting projects that doesn't fit your dream. Everything becomes very clear. Everything is going to be controlled, and control creates clarity, and clarity reduces or omits stress. And no stress is a happy life, Anthony.
Yeah, and I know we didn't really want to go this direction with it, but I really like this topic. And after the break, we'll go into more ClarigenZ and we'll really talk about that. But I want to know if you can give us a specific exercise you do with these people. Like, what's something we can do with people listening right now that can really help? Because I think this is so beneficial to a lot of people.
Yeah,
and I think this is a great thing. And your book will be out by the time this comes out. So if you have anything specific from the book, then let's dive into it. Whatever you got for us.
Yeah. So there's 2 or 3 parts of this exercise. The first part is, if you had to do a TEDx talk tomorrow, everybody know what a TEDx talk is, right? Write down 1 to 3 topics that you would talk about, knowing that up to 1 million people will be watching that video, right? So that's the first thing you do. Once you've done that, and you can do it right now, write those 2 or 3 topics down, what you would talk about. The next thing is, let's close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes and imagine you're on top of a mountain. And you're looking around, and it's beautiful landscape, and you're just standing there. It's quiet, it's beautiful. And suddenly some people are walking towards the base of the mountain, and they're sitting down and they're looking up at you. And a few minutes later, there's 8 billion people at the base of the mountain, the entire world sitting there. It's quiet, they're looking up at you. And now you have 10 minutes only to share one message only with those people. What message will that be? So that's the second part of the exercise. Now, here's the difference. Part number 1, most people write down topics that they have credentials for. Like for me, it would be about health and biohacking, most likely. They also write topics down that may benefit them monetarily later when those 1 million people watch, the TEDx talk. When you do the top of the mountain thing, and you have only one message to the world, usually that's a much bigger message. It comes from the heart, not from the brain. The TEDx talks come from the brain. The top of the mountain comes from the heart. And it may be something that you're not an expert in. It may be a message that you don't know how to fulfill or how to necessarily deliver, but that's not important. What is the message? And the rest will come later. And then the third part of the exercise is, let's see if the top of the mountain topic was part of your list for the TEDx talks, and usually it's not, but the top of the mountain comes from the heart. And then the question is, which topic gives you, or which message gives you the most fire in your stomach, you get passionate about? And that's your purpose of life. And many times that purpose of life, the topics on a TEDx talk, they kind of support that. There's a way of making those 2 things happen together. And that's just one of the few simple exercises that I do with people for them to really hone in on what their passions are, who they want to be in life. And once we establish that, they already there's a whole load coming off their shoulders, and then they start worrying about, yes, but I'm doing this in my job, and without the job, I can't pay the bills. So what we're going to do then is we're going to make a plan and strategy to free up time so they can start working on their dream while they're doing the job, and then slowly get away from that job and be full-time focused on the dream and the goals and the plan and the strategy to make those come true. And that's where I help a lot of people also.
No, that's awesome. That's very, very fulfilling. It's kind of how I ended up in this field. The ultimate, like, Anthony, just go do it. Yeah, I don't mind sharing this. I don't hide anything in my life anymore. But I had a quarter life crisis. I was at that time girlfriend, now wife's apartment, and I'm laying on the floor just watching her ceiling fan for 4 hours. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm doing what's making money. I'm not doing the right thing for Anthony." And it's like, this is definitely not where I need to be. Real estate's definitely not something that fulfills me. I don't give a shit if someone buys a colonial, a ranch, a split ranch. Like, it doesn't make a difference to their lives, and I just don't care enough to really push it. But then I was like, you know what? That's at that moment is when I realized I need to get into fitness. Like, that's
Good.
my dream, and that's where it all started. But like your analogy, now it lines up perfectly. What you said, part one and part two, exactly what I do now. Yeah. But that took literally 4 hours staring at a ceiling fan to get there.
Yeah. And most people don't get there because they don't realize it. They're just like so into the system. They never even realize they're not doing what they want to do, right? So we got to wake them up and at least make them think about those things. And it will solve a lot of mental issues, anxiety, depression, PTSD, whatever you call it. Because once you have a passion in life, you're unstoppable. And, it's purpose. And purpose, gets rid of everything that's bothering you right now. It's that simple.
I couldn't agree more. We're going to take a quick break, Dr. Mike. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what we really came on the show to do.
Getting in the zone. Getting in the zone
and really getting focused. So we'll take a quick break for word from our sponsor, guys, and we'll be right back. For us, we know what it's like to feel unhealthy, depressed, and downright defeated. We want to show others there is a right way, and through fitness, you can do anything you set your mind to. Fitness can give you that motivation, confidence, energy you need to bridge that mental gap and prevent you from missing important life events. We understand it's about feeling better, living longer, and being good examples for our kids. We understand this because we live it. And for us, that's the redefined difference. Everybody, and welcome back. We got Dr. Mike here. Thank you for taking a chance to listen to the sponsor. It really helps keep our show going. So without further ado, let's dive into a little more about why we came on to get in the zone and how did you go ahead and develop this product? Or better yet, can you pronounce the name for me because I'm going to screw it up. Is this Clarigen?
Well, no, actually, ClarigenZ Health is the company, and the product is called Focus Plus. Because I've been working the last few years a lot with, pre-screening calls for medical marijuana, right? We all know that's kind of in most states legal now. And so a lot of the people that I talk to are talking about their PTSD, whether that's civilian or military. They're talking about their anxiety, their insomnia, their depression, the traumas from their early childhood. And so I listen to these people and make notes and make sure they qualify. And so what I learned, our society, everybody, and especially our younger generation, it's hard to find somebody without this anxiety. So that's when I really started thinking. We just talked about the purpose of life. That's the first step. But adults, and our younger generation, we all have an issue focusing. We all have an issue these days is getting the homework done, getting the project done on time, meeting our deadlines. It's a problem in our society. We can't get things done anymore. And that's because what I call there's a dopamine overload. Dopamine is our reward hormone, one of the 5 intelligence hormones besides epinephrine, norepinephrine, serotonin, and acetylcholine. So dopamine, if our brain squirts a little dopamine, it feels good. It's like getting a pat on the back. So usually we seek a little bit of a dopamine. Usually energy drinks, coffee, sugary snacks, those types of things squirt a little bit of dopamine. But since social media has come into our lives, we all are in a dopamine overload. Because social media, when we get a like, when we get a heart on Instagram and somebody likes our company, our comment, it's a squirt of dopamine. And that's why we get addicted to it. That's why we stay on for hours and hours, because it makes us feel good. So now we're in a dopamine overload, which means it unbalances the 5 intelligence hormones, which results in brain fog, fatigue, inability to focus, inability to be productive and get the job done. All right, so that's basically the problem that we have. And so in my book that's upcoming, The Key to Your Success, I'll go over many tips and strategies that we can simply implement to get a little bit of control of that. And the first thing is awareness. Be aware that you're on your social media because you're seeking that dopamine. So obviously we can limit the amount of time we're on social media. When we need to get our homework or our job or a project done, we need to assign a certain designated area in our house or an office. We need to close the door, tell people not to disrupt us. We need to put the phone on airplane mode, put it in another room, put off everything, social media on your computer or laptop you're working on, and maybe even implement certain techniques that I'll explain in the book. One of them is just an example. It's called the Pomodoro technique, which helps a lot of people. So you're going to work and focus 20 minutes. Your phone is in a different room. You just have a timer. 20 minutes is up. You go out, 5-minute break. You can do whatever you want. Walk around, get a drink, check your social media, leave the phone there, 5 minutes, not 4 minutes 59, not 5 minutes 01. Go back, work 20 minutes, and you can repeat that cycle 4 or 5 times. So different people will respond to different tips and techniques. But in addition to that, I've always been looking for a nootropic, which is basically a natural supplement, if you will, that helps getting you back into the zone. Because all of people and kids are on Adderall and those types of things. And even though I hear from people it works, it comes with adverse reactions, right? It increases blood pressure, increases your risk of heart disease, long-term use personality disorder. So it's obviously something I can never recommend to anybody. So I've been looking for a while into natural alternatives until I came across this Focus Plus product. Actually, there's a cancer doctor friend of mine of Boston Neuro and Pain who stumbled upon what we call biocitroid, which is a patent-pending terpene that's extracted from a specific type of blood orange in the rainforest of Southeast Asia.
Holy
now,
shit.
This biocitroid terpene has been shown at 30 milligrams or higher to be able to cross the blood-brain barrier. What it means is it has effect within 30 minutes. Most supplements take weeks and weeks and weeks to build up in your system to then hopefully have some type of effect. So this works pretty quickly. And what the company ClarigenZ Health did is they added 3 other neuro agents to this to make it even better. So they added L-tyrosine, which is an amino acid which helps with memory, clarity, focus, and those types of things. It's also a precursor to dopamine and epinephrine. The second one they added is phenylalanine, which is another neuro agent which helps with photographic memory, concentration, creativity. And then the third one is, to me, the most important one is phosphatidyl. Phosphatidyl is a healthy fat which we find in our body but also in our brain. And phosphatidyl promotes nerve growth factor. What it means, it increases neural connections. And if you've seen the Avatar movie, I'm waiting for the second one. I can't wait to see that one. But if you saw the first Avatar movie, all those connections that we have, right? So actually nerve growth factor establishes new connections. So you're going to use more of your brain because everybody heard we only use a few percentages of our brain. So those 4 together, what they do is they not only balance but also optimize all those 5 intelligence hormones. And when those 5 intelligence hormones work in synergy, that's when we're in the zone. Most of us have experience being in the zone, but usually it's like by accident. But if we look at Michael Jordan, for example, he was always in the zone. So today, top business people, CEOs, and top athletes, they know how to get in the zone on demand and bring their A game every single time, whether that's in sports, whether it is when you want to kill a presentation or crush your sales goals or find inner peace, whatever it is. Today I can teach people how to get in the zone with those strategies and with a supplement like this. Because if you take it within 30 minutes, it works, and you will be in the zone for 6 hours. So it's a great tool to add to the tips and strategies we need to implement to get the job done, to focus again, and to be productive.
That's a lot.
You wanted it.
No, that was good. I like that. It really dove into a certain different types of. One thing you mentioned, which I'll just kind of start breaking things down for everybody, was overload of dopamine, which is so true. It's What's the name of the movie? The
Limitless.
Netflix documentary on Facebook. What was it called?
With the social media, right?
Yeah, where it's about social media. It's about how addictive it's all true.
Yeah.
Your phone is programmed. There's people that spend hours and hours and hours a day figuring out how to keep you on this more.
Yeah.
That's all they do. So all those apps you play, all those games, everything that's focused around, all right, I need to make sure you get on. They know how to get you addicted. That's the key, because they're going for that dopamine. They're going for just a little bit. And then you crave that dopamine again. So you're distracted about whatever you're doing. So you go back to your phone. And you ever realize that when you're on your phone, you spend a good 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes on it without even realizing it? It's like, oh shit, where'd the time go?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
doing nothing. Yeah, doing nothing.
That's what you're talking about. You're just getting that dopamine release and time just goes like that.
That's correct. So we got to get away from that if we want to be productive and successful.
I always tell people, and I love that you said that, is take a break from your phone. And two big things. One, don't sleep with your phone in the room. That was the biggest thing. So you're not being woken up to it. It's not the first thing you look at. It gives your mind a mental break from it. Put it in another room. The second tip is when you're working, put your phone in another room. You see the trend here? Like when I'm out with clients, you know how bad it would be if I was looking at my phone training them? Like that would look horrible. But it helps with my mental state because I put my phone in my office and then I spend 6 hours on the floor and I'm working. And if you're worried about an emergency, I hear this is the biggest excuse. My kids need to call me, blah, 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 blah. You know, they didn't have cell phones even like 15 years ago.
Exactly. How did we grow up? But this is a different perspective on what you just said, and I agree 100% with you. It's like your phone is there for you to use and do what you need to do, but it is a disservice to yourself to have other people interrupt you at their time. Okay? So when you're working, you put the phone off or put it away on airplane mode. When you need to call somebody, when you need somebody, that's when you pick it up and get things done. But do not let other people interrupt you while you're working. You're not on their schedule. You're not their assistant. You not work for them. And you are not there at their convenience. And therefore, you only use your phone when you want to use it. And when you're working and when you're doing something, you put it off so nobody interrupts you.
I couldn't agree more with that. That's the life lesson. If anything from this, take that away. There was a lot in this episode so far, so I'm glad we're kind of going into these topics. And that, yet again, will lead to a whole plethora. So we're really glad we talked about that. The other thing we talked about was getting in the zone when it comes to being productive. And I'm somebody who's always considered myself like mildly ADD. But I don't medicate or anything like that. I don't believe in any of that stuff. But it's just like I always found it hard to focus. But when I focus, I'm in. And I know that's that balance you were talking about of being able to sit down and dive through work. A big biohack, I don't know, I guess it's considered a life hack that I do that might work on top of it if you don't want to take anything, is start with the smallest task first, because then you feel accomplished. Take what will take you the shortest amount of time, whatever it is on your list, and get it done. Then it's like, all right, I got that done. Good. Now let's dive into the hardest task, not for time length, the hardest mental task. For me, it's always calling back customer complaints. So those I just put off, and they ate me alive. So I'm just like, I got to get those done next, because then it clears up my brain. And then I can start going into my day with the other tasks. But those are my two big ones.
Yeah, and you mentioned things that are all in the book because they're all very effective. But it also comes down to what you just shared with your listeners is you have a plan, you have a strategy. And as long as you have a plan and strategy, you're in control. And control is clarity. Clarity reduces stress. So that's exactly right. And yes, this product is not just for top athletes to get into the zone or for top business people. No, again, I help a lot of people with ADHD, anxiety, depression, kids that are distracted and can't get their homework done, that are fidgeting, that are procrastinating. So even though we have to implement the strategies and make them aware and putting certain things in place, this Focus Plus, which is no side effects, it's 100% safe, it doesn't give you any jittery effects, it's 100% safe. So it's obviously a good tool to get you in the zone. and perform and get more things done in less time. Because if kids don't procrastinate and get things done, they have more free time to play, right? But usually it takes them way too long to do that homework because they can't focus, and then they don't have time to watch TV or to do something fun, and they have to go straight to bed. So if we can get more done in less time by focusing and not being distracted, it helps everybody.
My biggest question on it, and I'm sure you get this a lot, just always being like devil's advocate on my little shoulder.
Well, that's good. I like it.
There's a lot of things like caffeine is something that everyone's familiar with, drinks all the time. It gets you more productive, right? But then you need to have it again in order to hit that same productivity, and it's hard to do it without it. So does this have that same type of effect where it comes a little more of like more mental dependency?
No, not at all, because it's totally the opposite of caffeine or energy drinks or sugar or anything like that. So the caffeine and energy drinks, they're misnomers. They're not picker-uppers. They are not energy makers or giving you energy. They are, in fact, depressants. Because if you take coffee or an energy drink, for example, yes, you get an energy jolt, but where does the energy come from? It's borrowed from your body. So you're going to get a down or a depression afterwards. You have to rebuild it. So after you get the jolt or the jitteriness and those types of things, you borrowed the energy. So now you get in a depressive state. And that's why we feel we need it again. We need more coffee. We need another Red Bull. We need another Monster. We need more sugar. And so it's a vicious cycle that we can't get out of. Especially the coffee, you get the headaches and the migraines, right? Because you're dependent on it and your body is asking for it. So that's dependency and it's depression. It's nothing to do with energy. It's quite the opposite of energy. What this product does, it's all natural. There is no jittery effects. There is no depression. There's no energy pickup either. It doesn't give you energy. What it does is, in most cases now, because I believe most people are in dopamine overload, it reduces that dopamine. It balances the 5 intelligence hormones and optimizes them so you can be in the zone. So you're focused on your tasks. You're not distracted. And being in the zone is not borrowing energy. It's just eliminating distractions, and your brain is just honed in the zone on the task at hand. So no, there's no side effects. There's no jitteriness. There's not pain afterwards. There's no dependencies like Adderall or those types of things at all. And in fact, it's quite the opposite of energy drinks and coffee.
Yeah, because like you said, it's a different. I mean, coffee is all natural technically, but I hate Monster, Red Bull. You want to talk about shit that's bad for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mentioned this on a previous show, and I think it's just good for just the time of the year that I know this episode's coming out. Any pill, period, any pill that says it is a weight loss or fat burner or lose 30 pounds in 30 days and take this pill, there is a 30 to 40% chance will put you in the ER. So before you go ahead and take this, say, hey, do I want to roll a dice to see if I'm going to end up in the hospital tonight? That stuff is so bad for you. There's so much shit in it that it's just not worth it. Hence my skepticalness of other products, which is why I like people who talk and explain.
You should be. That's why I don't talk about products a lot. I only take 100% natural stuff that has no side effects. It's 100% safe. And that's what I take for the things that I do. And again, I stumbled upon this. I've been taking it. I've been recommended to business people and fellow athletes. And again, I'm not even promoting it in a way like, hey, you should take this. I tell people to try it because every one of all your listeners actually could get a free sample. If you go to trysmartpill.com, you can get a free sample there. And I tell people, take it, and if it works, great, buy it if you want it. And if it doesn't work, don't buy it. Don't waste your money, because you'll know quickly. It works in 30 minutes. So when you get a free sample, you get 2 pills. I usually say, figure out when you want to take it before you're going to do a project or work, or before you're going to go to a workout in the gym, or whatever it is that you want to do. Take it 30 minutes before. If you don't feel anything in 30 minutes, take that second pill, and then it should work for 6 hours. If it doesn't do anything for you, don't buy it. It's that simple.
Does it keep you awake if you take it for 6 hours at night?
No, it balances the hormones, so you're going to be focused. But what's the purpose taking it at night? You're going to go to sleep. You don't want to focus when you're going to go to sleep, right? Some people take it once a day. Others actually take it 2 a day because they're working or they want to be focused 12 hours. And other people just take it because once they learn my tips and strategies, that you don't necessarily have to take it every day because you now are in control. You're aware of the dopamine overload. You took control of your social media. You integrated some tips and techniques that work for you. So then you're only going to take it when you're prepared for a presentation. There's 1,000 people listening. You got to go on stage. Maybe you want to have that extra focus. You take it 30 minutes before then. Maybe you got to play a basketball game or go swim like myself. Take it 30 minutes before then. So it doesn't have to be every day. So everybody kind of uses it when they feel it would benefit them.
Awesome. I love it. And I really love the stuff you were saying about your book. And I know I want to go back to it because the book will be out by now. So and I want to ask you if you have any more specifically tips and tricks about how to just focus in general. I'm going to mention 2 that I know, and then I want you to just expand off of those 2.
Sure, yeah.
So the most important one is sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep at night, you're not going to be focused the next day, period. And I don't just mean I'm going to go to bed. I mean, no electronics an hour before bed, so you're getting real deep sleep. I mean, making sure you're getting at least 7.5 hours of sleep, going to bed at the same time, and really making sure you're in the right sleeping environment to optimize how much sleep you're getting. Because if you don't get that, you're screwed the rest of the day. Your cortisol levels are going to be all over the place. Your diet's going to be shit. You're not going to be able to focus working out, and you're going to be falling asleep during every presentation. So that's step 1. Step 2 is alcohol. It's one of the biggest things that kill people the next day. And I know everyone knows hangovers kill you. Like for me, hangovers 3 days if I'm having more than 4 drinks. It's horrible just because I don't drink that much. But I still feel effects after having 2. If I have 2 drinks that like at that night or like right before bed, that's going to screw my sleep up, which is then going to have that trickle effect going down. So I would say if you're going to have an alcoholic beverage, which I'm not going to say just not to, make sure it's at least 2 hours before you go to bed and it's out of your system completely before you go to bed, and make sure it's not more than 2. So those are my 2 big ones on that. And I want to see if you have anything to add.
No, that's great. Of course, alcohol turns into sugar, right? And there's the dopamine overload again. So, right? I mean, you're just filling it in here. So there's your dopamine overload. When it comes to sleeping, it's not just alcohol. You shouldn't eat. You shouldn't eat late at night either. No snacks, no nothing, because digestion takes your energy, and when your body is digestion, you cannot focus. So if you want to have a deep sleep, you want to eat only early evening, so you have 4 or 5 hours before you go to sleep, so digestive efforts have been completed. So now your body can go into a deep sleep, because that's where you repair, renew, and regenerate. It's like going to a supermarket or taking the supermarket as an example. If people during the night, during closing hours, don't stock the shelves, 2 days later, there's nothing left, right? And it's the same with our body. During sleep, that's when we repair, we regenerate, we restock. And so it's not necessarily the amount of hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, but it's the depth of our sleep. How deep do we sleep? Do we get into those delta stages so our body can repair and regenerate? So you're 100% right. Sleep is one of the essential pillars to health and always will be. And then when it comes to the alcohol and the eating, again, not before sleep, but even, we're only supposed to, and this is going to shock a lot of people on your program, we can talk about another time, you're only supposed to eat once a day, just like the Romans, the Greeks, and Moses did, just like all the animals in the wild too, just like our biology and the physiology of our digestive system is made. It's only made to, basically digest 1 meal a day. And a good simple example is when you work 8 to 5 and you go for a lunch and you come back to work, how do you feel? All right, you feel sleepy. You don't want to work. You want to take a nap because digestive effort is going to take energy. So now you have a poor digestion and you have a poor performance at work in the afternoon, because digestion takes away energy, takes away focus. You can't get the job done. So getting back to your alcohol, the same with food. If your body's digestion, you can't focus, can't get the work done. So I only eat like at 5 p.m., one nice good meal per day. In the morning, breakfast is the least important meal in the day. Nobody ever should have breakfast because that takes the energy away. You have the energy from your evening meal that has been digestion. You have the energy from sleeping well. And so you should be vital in the morning. And you're going to ruin that with breakfast. So digestion now has to start working and take the energy for an unhealthy breakfast. It doesn't make any sense. So you made two great points: deep sleep, and do not try to focus when your body's digesting food or alcohol.
You know what you just sparked in my head? And just thinking like, this is 3 years into this show, right? I have heard as far as how many times a day you should eat a different answer from every single
I'll challenge all of them.
person. That's what I was going with this actually. I was like, I want to have a panel episode.
Yeah.
Let's get 4 or 5 of you on. Let's
get the facts of biology and physiology in there. Nobody can dispute those.
Let's do it.
Most people are selling stuff. It's usually what I call the gym rats, and no offense, because I have a lot of friends that go to the gym, but I always get into the discussions, right? Oh, metabolism, 5 meals a day. No, it's just to sell stuff. It's just this whole gym mentality always has been like, meal prep. We got the lean chicken breast with the broccoli. We can talk about meat in an episode. There's no use for meat. There's no valuable protein that you're gonna get from a cooked piece of dead flesh that was killed 3 weeks ago. You absolutely are not gonna get it. Animals are the middleman. The proteins come from plants. The animals get it from plants. We can go into this biology, physiology. There's no use for meat. And again, it's not an opinion. This is biology and physiology, right? And there's certainly
I need to do this episode with you. This is like, because I do agree, and I don't want to talk. We're just going to wrap this up here, but I do agree 100%. Sure. Like, no 5 meals a day. That's fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but balance the amount of carbs, proteins, fats you're getting, eating a holistic diet. This is something we're going to do in a panel episode, and I really want to, because I could literally go on about an hour and a half about this. Yeah. So I'm going to spare everybody. So we're going to wrap it up, Dr. Mike. Just the last 2 questions I ask everybody at the end. The first one is, that's the second one. The first one is, how would you summarize this episode in 1 or 2 sentences?
Well, again, we talked about getting into the zone and focusing most of it. So I think the number one step is what everybody forgets. We need to find out what our purpose in life is, or confirm it, and make sure that you're doing what you're passionate about, because that it will eliminate a lot of stress, anxiety, depression, worry, fear. You need to be in control of your life, which creates clarity. Clarity reduces stress. And then secondly, we need to be aware that most of us are in the dopamine overload. We need to put tips and strategies in place and be aware of the social media and the sugary drinks, energy drinks, and coffee. We need to break that vicious cycle, and we need to implement the tips and strategies, and maybe even a supplement like Focus Plus to get back into the zone, to produce, to get the job done, to attack our obstacles and not throw our arms in the air, so we can accomplish our goals and our dreams. I think that was a summary of today's episode.
I love it. And then the second question, how can people find you, get a hold of you, give us all the good stuff?
Yes, you can find me on my website, mvtonline.com. It's right there on the screen, I guess, or biohackingunlimited.com. Same website, by the way, biohackingunlimited.com. You got all my books there. I'm a best-selling author. There's 7-8 books there. My new book should be there by now, I guess. And then my speaking bio is there. Currently, I have a 20-minute free Zoom call. My schedule sometimes gets filled quickly, but any listener can just go to the website. My calendar is there. Get a 20-minute one-on-one Zoom call with me just to find out where you are health-wise, or business-wise, or purpose of life-wise. See where you want to be, so I can initiate a plan and strategy with you, and maybe put you in one of my several mentorship programs, which you can also check out on the same website, biohackingunlimited.com.
I love it. Thank you. And thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Health and Fitness Redefined. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button and join us next week as we dive deeper into this ever-changing field. And remember, fitness is medicine. Until next time.